Hi there, I'm Headley, another fat bearded man talking about records here to talk about records. Thank you for joining me. Good to see you. You're all looking absolutely lovely. I went last weekend to Nottingham, hooked up with John, the 6-inch pianist, 319, and a friend of mine, Paul, to go to a record fair and have a look around some of the record shops in town as well. Took Paul with us mainly because it was good to have a kind of a native guide to sort of show us where we needed to go. So anyway, let's get on with this without further ado, as everyone has to say apparently at the beginning of a VC video. So first up, when we got to the record fair, I found this. This is the fabulous Poodles. This is Think Pink. This is their third and final album from 1979, I believe. Yes, kind of a new wavy pub rock kind of band. They most notable probably that sets them apart is Bobby Valentino. That's Bobby Valentino there, who plays violin all over it. You might know him from various other session playing as a violin player, famous for being playing the violin on the Bluebells' Young at Heart, which he eventually took them to court and got a writing credit for. Anyway, yeah, great stuff. If you like Squeeze, things like that, for that sort of kind of proto-punk, kind of more like a new wavy, as I said. Yeah, they disbanded after that, but I was pleased to get hold of. I've now got all three of their albums, so that's cool. Right at the back, I found a stall, a guy who was selling a load of sort of rock and roll, soul records, R&B, and amongst them he had some country, and I found this. This is Country Willie, his own songs. I believe this is from 1966. This is a UK mono pressing. Not easy to find early Willie, especially in the UK, even though this is a UK pressing. Everyone kind of goes mad for later 1970s Willie with Phases and Stages, Red-Headed Stranger, Shotgun Willie, but with songs. I mean, this is an amazing record. It's got One Day at a Time, which the Flatlanders did a cracking version of. You've got My Own Peculiar Way, Nightlife, Funny How Time Slips Away, The Healing Hands of Time, Darkness on the Face of the Earth, Hello Walls, Record, Mr. Record Man. I mean, these are some of the greatest songs that Willie Nelson wrote. They were hits for other people, so this is him doing them. And for an album produced by Chet Atkins in Nashville Studios system, this is a very stripped back kind of style of country. It's basically just Willie Nelson, his classical guitar, pedal steel, and a small band. So it's got none of the strings, none of the kind of backing vocals. Really great. So happy to find that was my. I should have left this to the end because this was my this is the pick of the trip, I have to say. So pleased to find a bit of Willie. The same guy had boxes of £5 records underneath the stall, and I picked up a couple of Bear Family compilations. This is Marvin Rainwater, Rockin' Rollin' Rainwater. Bear Family Records is a really good label from Germany, doing a lot of rock and roll and country represses. This is from 1982. Good stuff. I mean, there's a version, he does a version of Roving Gambler, which is great. I think I like the version by the Everleys, but everyone did that. And yeah, so kind of country, rock and roll, rockabilly, a bit of everything. There's a couple of tracks that sound very Johnny Cash as well. He's trying different things. Obviously, Marvin Rainwater was playing on his, I think he's part Cherokee, or maybe Sioux, I can't remember. But yeah, really pleased to find that.
Things were getting mighty rough in Oklahoma, and I like to starve to death in Tennessee. Someone said there's lots of work way down in Georgia. I thought I'd take me down and see. Well, I must have been the coldest man in Georgia, and the taste of food was just a memory. Standing in the rain looking through this window, and I swear this is what I see.
And the other one that the guy had was Don Gibson, The Early Days. These are recordings from 1949 and 1950. Of course, Don Gibson would go on to write classics like I Can't Stop Loving You, Sweet Dreams, Sea of Heartbreak, became a big star. But here he is, I think that's him there playing bass. There's another picture on the back of him fronting the band. Yeah, and clearly hasn't got his own sort of style by this point. He's doing a bit of everything. There's a track called Carolina Breakdown, which is kind of bluegrass, and there's an instrumental called Wiggle Wag, which is kind of fun as well. But yeah, an interesting record to have. Anyway, more Don Gibson. I found that the rest of sort of stuff from sort of £2, £1 bins. 1968, more country soul from Don Gibson. I don't think you can go wrong with sort of country records from the sort of late 60s. They don't start to get too poppy until you get into the 70s, really. He does do a version of I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry on this, but good stuff. Really nice. Soulful country music.
I walk alone where once we wandered. Seems so strange since you were gone. Will you return? I'll stay the same, dear. I'll still be true and walk alone by stars above. I swear to love you.
Sleepy LaBeef, I got this from the same bloke. Ain't What You Eat, It's the Way How You Chew It. This is from 1981. It was originally on Rounder Records, released this UK one on Sonnet. There you go, the Sonnet label. And Sleepy LaBeef is kind of a bit rockabilly revival, country, blues, all kind of thrown in together. You don't really know quite what you're going to get with him. There's perhaps a little bit too much blues guitar on it for my liking, but there's some great stuff. You've got Earl Poole Ball playing piano on it, who's great. Buddy Spiker on fiddle, and Joel Sonnier on accordion, who plays on a lot of sort of Cajun stuff. So yeah, pleased to find that for £1 or whatever it was. Another cheapo one, Wes McGee. I've already got this, but this was a nicer copy. This is Long Nights and Banjo Music. I think it's his debut from 1978 on his own Terrapin label. There you go, the Terrapin. I used to have a pet Terrapin. He was called Bert. He used to sit on my mother's knee and watch the television. Yeah, very odd. Anyway, yeah, I think Wes McGee is the best UK country artist, and I'll stand on Hank. I'll stand on Hank Wangford's coffee table with my cowboy boots on and say that. So yeah, really pleased to have that. If you like a bit of sort of a bit of Waylon, a bit of Guy Clark, it's kind of all mixed in together.
Oh shit, I'm back on the goddamn motherfucking road again. Well, I tried to resist it, but my management insisted, so here I am again. Well, I brung my tunes and I brung my band, so the least you can give me is a big fucking hand, and there ain't nothing to it. You shouldn't spare to do it. I'm back on the road again. Oh fuck, I'm back in the truck on the motherfucking road again. The heater's busted and the engine can't be trusted not to blow again.
We then left the record fair by way of a pub, and then Paul led us through the mean streets of Nottingham to some other record shops. The first one, I believe, well, there was a couple we went past that were actually closed, which is amazing for a Saturday afternoon. You'd have thought that was when they'd be open. Anyway, we then found one in a kind of a shopping precinct called, I think it was called Big Apple Records. And they immediately, when I got there was a £2 bin outside. So while John went in to check out the reggae records that he could see, I stuck at the £2 bin. And the first thing I picked up was the Motors, their second album. Yeah, again, a kind of a new wave punk pub rock kind of thing. I didn't think it had this on it, but it does. It's actually got their hit record, Airport, on it, which I remember because I had a tape, probably the first music I ever got given as a kid. I had a tape, and it was called Parade of the Pops. It's a bit like one of those Top of the Pops albums with cover versions of pop hits of the day, and there was a cover version of Airport, so I knew that from that first tape I had. But yeah, I know James Griffiths is a huge fan, so this is a kind of a homage. I had to pick it up for James. It's great. They've got a really nice sound. They've got a very kind of Motown thing going on this record. The first one, I believe, is far more punky, but this one, yeah, the R&B mingled with the kind of the new wave rock is kind of really interesting. Good sounding record. Really like it. Although they are clearly a band that with faces only mothers could love. God bless them. I think that's Jimmy White, for the snooker player. Right, the other one I picked up in the £2 bin was this Lou Rawls. Although this is really cheeky because you think this is a Lou Rawls record, but it says starring Lou Rawls with special guest stars Joe Tex and Brooke Benton. Again, I thought it might have been a live show because you got a picture of him live. It isn't, and in fact, it has 2 tracks by Lou Rawls. And it has 4 tracks each by Joe Tex and Brooke Benton. So why they've got Lou Rawls as the main star? Clearly he was more popular at the time. And these are older recordings. This was released, I think, in about 1970 on the Deacon label. And Deacon Records, I think it only lasted about a year, but it put out a lot of records. And clearly they were doing a bit of a dodgy thing. Of what they were doing was the 2 tracks by Lou Rawls on this are Walking for Miles and Kiddio. And if you check that out, those are the A and B side of about a 1961 single. So clearly they've licensed that and put it on here. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if the others aren't early recordings. They all work together, actually, surprisingly well. That sort of early 60s R&B. So that was nice to find that.
They tell me a man ain't supposed to cry, not even if his baby said goodbye. that's alright. For a man that has no soul, or hide his tears and try to be cold. But I love my baby. I know we can make it. So please come back, 'cause I just can't take it. Now, baby, I've been crying since the day you left, and I'm so ashamed, but I just can't help myself.
Well, that was really nice to find. A US copy of Merle Haggard and the Strangers, Branded Man. It's like his third or fourth record, 1968, I think. But this is a later repress. But yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong. Branded Man is one of his classic records. Yeah, I mean, for my collection of Merle Haggard, really pleased to find that. In the shop, I did have a look through stuff while John was while John nipped down to the bank to get some money out to buy a reggae record. I looked through the cheapo records and I found this. This is called Blue Blue Day and Other Steel Guitar Country and Western Favorites by Red Rhodes and the Road Runners. Now, Red Rhodes, for some people, is probably best known for being the pedal steel guitarist that worked with Mike Naismith on his country rock records. And this is from 1964, I think, on Crown Records. This is a US copy. And this is an instrumental pedal steel record that's kind of branches that kind of country exotica kind of thing. Really good. I cleaned this, put it on, and I immediately had to put it on again and put it on again. I loved it. Brilliant. So Red Rhodes. That isn't Red Rhodes. I don't think she's in the band. Then we went to the final place, and now this place nearly broke me. It was called Rob's Records, and John has done a video about our trip, and he has some video footage of this place. So go and have a look at John's video. I'll put a link below. And it was quite frightening. It was, you've never seen anything like it. It was like from one of those TV programs about hoarders that just can't get rid of stuff, and just everything's piled up. It was records everywhere, piled on top of each other. In fact, there was one point where where John shifted a box and everything started to go, and he nearly started an avalanche. I think we were in fear of our lives. I started to get the fear. It was, if I'd have got there early and I knew what I was going to be confronted with, I could have probably got along with it. But as I'd already got a bag full of records with me, it was tough work. Yeah, check out John's video to see what this place looked like, because it was amazing. But the guy knew his stuff, and nothing. You'd have thought in a place that was all higgledy-piggledy everywhere and piled on top of, that there'd be deals to be had, but everything was priced up, probably what it was worth, really. But it was so funny to find piles of records where you got a £50 priced Rolling Stones record and then a Leo Sayer record for £2, and it's all mixed up. Anyway, I picked up a couple of things there, and in fact, the first thing I'm going to show you the first thing actually I got. I was literally there for about 2 seconds, and I found this Bobby Whitlock record. The cover's not great. It's a bit moth-eaten, and but I've done a bit of a fixed job on these bloody awful American tip-on sleeves. Bloody hate them. Yeah, so Bobby Whitlock, kind of one of those sort of people that was a session man for loads of famous people, and this does have famous people playing on it. But I like it for Bobby Whitlock and his kind of gospel rock kind of country kind of thing going on. Some great tracks on here. That I think my favourite one is A Day Without Jesus, which is a really sort of obviously gospel track, and I think I've got other versions of that done by other people, but it's good to have his original version. So that was literally the first thing I saw, and I think it was only about £4 or something, so I was really pleased to pick that up.
I was standing in the valley when they brought young Willie home, and I'll never forget the way my mom cried when they laid him in the ground. The preacher preached a sermon and they sang the sad, sad songs, but I know I'm gonna meet him in heaven, 'cause he never lived a day without Jesus.
And then the final record that kind of really broke me, and I found it, but it was I think £1, and that was Johnny Horton Makes History. It's Johnny Horton's. I like Johnny Horton. He's probably his more rockabilly stuff is more popular, but I kind of like his. I mean, he's probably best known for the Battle of New Orleans, the Jimmy Driftwood song, and that's on here. Which was a huge hit for him. Also, Johnny Reb, by Merle Kilgore, who co-wrote what's it called? The Johnny Cash track, Ring of Fire. That's the one. Anyway, and those were big hits. And I think this is from 1960. I might be wrong, but again, this is a more modern repress. But yeah, he'd had hits with Battle of New Orleans, and so they put together an album of sort of historical, as it says, action tales of battles, heroes, and epic events. Some of it's a little bit jingoistic, but you know, it's fun stuff, and I do like the Battle of New Orleans, and some of the other tracks are good on it as well. But yeah, Johnny Horton, I like that. Right, so there we go. That's not bad for such a big haul of records. It was good to see John and my mate Paul. Good fun. I'm going to be heading out to a record store in Huddersfield in a week or so. If the funeral isn't on that day, you know the one I mean. So anyway, thank you anyway. That was my records that I found in Nottingham last weekend. So there you go. I will see you soon at some point, I'm sure. Bye-bye for now.